Heat Ratio Sports Network. The show brings the temperature of sports to a whole new level. Whether it's a local opinion or a national agenda, everything is fair game. Remember, everyone has an opinion, but only few can back it up. Now sit back, crank up the volume, and if you think you can handle it, get ready for the heat.
Welcome in, everybody. We are live right here, Heat Ratio Live, Heat Ratio Sports. I'm your host, Tony Cutillo, joined as always by Al Griffin. We got the crew, we got the trifecta here. A lot of stuff going on. As always, I don't know what that was, but we're going to get that taken care of. A little technical difficulties here and there, but usually, as always, brought to you by our good friends at Prime Roofing, and as always, from the wonderful Steam Pub, your home of the real-time draft beer list. We will be back there. We got a lot of big things planned, talking about bi-weekly shows and some Eagle watch parties for preseason games. Dates to be released very, very soon. But before we get into anything, we got a lot of topics to talk about tonight, right? So we're going to talk some Phillies who, if you're watching the game right now, you already know the score. You know, I don't want to update you, but you're probably going to be pissed off, but that's okay. But we have a lot of stuff talking about with the new manager, with JT Realmuto. We're going to talk a little bit. Quick takes with Dan Green, talking about coaches maybe that have gotten fired that you wish you could have back. We got the 2-minute warning segment with my man Al. The Sixers saying they aren't as far as you think. I can't wait to hear that. And as always, we have the Final Judgment with yours truly, talking about Nick Sirianni has been hanging out with some two legendary coaches, and maybe he is the next big thing. Maybe not the next BDN, but maybe the next big thing. And then some early NFL breakdowns. We talked AFC East last week. We're going to talk NFC West, some odds, some thoughts, some winners. You know, maybe the Rams, could they repeat? And as always, we got some Jigsaw Chronicles where we're going to touch on a little bit of some Rita's water ice story. So I know Dan is really going to like that because it's close and dear to his heart. But and actually, we got our boy Dave probably stopping in a little halfway through the show. He's been doing him and Tech been doing some fantastic things from MLB, especially on Sundays around 12 o'clock, 12:30 right here, Heat Ratio Sports. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're going to the podcast page on Apple, on Spotify, wherever it is, and make sure you're downloading that as well. So giving us as much love as possible. But boys, let's start right off here. And let's talk Phillies. Let's get right into this. Phillies been on a roll. We already understand. Under Rob Thomson, been playing a new style of baseball that relies less on analytics. And the question is, will this trend continue to go upward? Now, I'm going to refer to old school right here first before we get Al's take on this, because this is our resident baseball guy. And what I'd like to ask him is, there was one specific play. Now, we already know they won 8-9 in a row, right? We all know that. Then they lost handsomely, which we had to expect that was going to happen, right? Eventually. Then they come back in a big way, you know, and take that game against the Miami Marlins in the bottom of the ninth inning. And again, the reason why I want to ask Dan is because analytics was ignored. When you're running and stealing a base with 2 outs, and the game on the line, he goes against analytics. Reese Hoskins drives him in, and we're talking about Matt Verling. So, Dan, is this kind of what we envisioned when Joe Girardi was out of here? You know, that maybe he relied too much on analytics, always puzzling, you know, through a playbook where Rob Thompson's going more with that gut kind of instinctual baseball attitude. Is this what you kind of envisioned?
It's what I hoped. I don't know about envisioned. I mean, Thompson has been with Girardi for years upon years. So often is the case, you are a product of who you've been coaching with for the past dozen years. So perhaps Thompson would give feedback to Girardi. Girardi would take it for what it was worth, and you'd just go with his Bible versus his gut. But there's different types of the scenario you described was almost like defensive indifference to some extent. You know, you often get that late in the late innings. So I wouldn't call that as ballsy as like the game earlier. Schwarber was running with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
When Harper, so like that's something that Girardi would never have done.
No.
To get
You're right.
so. But yeah, do I think Thomson is ignoring analytics way more than Girardi? Absolutely. Is there something? Is he occasionally using a common? I think even in the old school times, there's always been a combination of both. Sometimes the term analytics is overdone. I mean, the whole lefty righty situation is in theory analytics, right?
Yep.
I mean, if
Absolutely.
1975 you and I were platooning in right field, and I hit well against this right-handed pitcher, I was still going to sit the bench if you were batting lefty. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So, but ultimately, to your point, the Gabe Kapler, Joe Girardi analytics, I think that's not as intense as it used to be, and I'm glad. Gut feeling means more to me than pure numbers in a book.
I completely agree. And Al, the gut feeling to me is huge. As a basketball guy, and we're going to get to that. Some Sixers talk with you later on a final warning, but or the 2-minute warning, I should say. I'm the final judgment. You're the 2-minute warning. We're going to get that straight. But talk about gut feeling. I mean, is this kind of? I know they're frustrating you right now. We're going to talk about JT Realmuto in a bit, but this team. I mean, are they playing better up to kind of your? I wouldn't say expectations, but maybe what you thought they were going to be in the beginning of the year.
Yeah. We talked about actually before the season started, or actually I think in that first week, we talked about how many 10-run games will we have this year. And I haven't really kept track, but we had a nice amount already. So I can't really say have we peaked, because I'm still looking at 199s and 205s and 222s. So we still haven't maxed out. I mean, we had that 9-game winning streak. Was it 9 or 8?
It was 9.
9. So
right,
eight with Thomson, 9 overall.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And we still really not have peaked. Castellanos is still not hitting the way we expected them to hit. Harper is doing Harper things, but everybody isn't hitting like they really supposed to and capable of doing yet, and we're still all right. So I think we still have a lot of room to grow. We're going to have games like we did that other day where nothing went right and we got smoked, but okay, that happened. We came back and got the next victory. We started out this first inning not good. And like you said, we'll talk about JT later. But we have not maxed out yet. Even got close to maxing out, and we're okay. So let's see, those dogs days this summer, maybe more than one person get hot at the same time. And then let's see where we can really be. Because I still haven't seen it yet. And 9 games didn't tell me we maxed out. It was just morally timely hitting, all the right things going right, people hitting the wrong spots when they're pitching, and we're knocking it out of the ballpark, those type of things.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot to fix on this team, obviously, and we all three of us, not just us, but a lot of people, I think we're all in on consistency, right? It was number one. Girardi was tinkering way too much with the lineup. I think we all agreed there was no consistency day in and day out. He didn't like to play the young guys, which gave them zero confidence and gave them zero opportunity to actually showcase their abilities. Now, listen, Castellanos is a great segue into this conversation because, you heard him after the game a couple days ago say, listen, I owe, this was when Bryson Stott was going off and winning the games. And he said, listen, I owe Dombro a lot of credit because when I was not good for the first 2 years trying to figure stuff, he just stuck with me, kept throwing me out there. Him and Leland kept throwing me out there. And eventually I got it because it's a different speed. It's a different game. It comes faster. We all know that. Not everybody's Mike Trout, man. Like at the end of the day, everybody has to relax. So I get it.
Hold on. Did Tony just say patience?
Yes, and it's baseball, though. It's baseball.
It's a marathon.
You get a different jigsaw with baseball, man. You get a different taste with me with baseball because I understand. I that's one thing I'd be patient about. Now, Al, here's the thing, and I want to see your opinions on this because let's get right into the JT Realmuto situation. And before we even get into this, I'm not gonna put this person on blast, okay, by name, but they're gonna know who they are if they even listen. They probably don't, okay. But first of all, I think sometimes people just want to come up with topics just to get a rile out of people, right? And I know this is very famous on a lot of radio stations, and it's fine. I get it. It's fabricated debates, which I don't like. I want natural heat. That's why we are Heat Ratio. And I'm not saying anything wrong with that, but that's just what I want. We don't sit behind the show and say, hey, what can we argue about before we go on the air, right? We don't do that. And I know this was kind of fabricated because, and maybe I'm wrong, and Dan, you will be the one to tell me I'm wrong because I know you go deep inside these stats, but this person was basically saying that, JT Realmuto's contract's the worst of all time, and we're going to rue the day that we signed JT. And then, listen, dude, everybody just calm down. Let me just say something. One of the most important parts of a baseball team is the catching position. Okay, this isn't a guy who's got bad knees. This isn't a guy who's got a bad back. This isn't a guy who's got a bad elbow, right? This is a guy just going through a little heat right now to where he's slumping. And let's honestly think about this for a second. A year or two ago, when our offense was shit, JT was the number 2 option, and he had to produce. Now. It's almost like the Chooch factor. Remember, when we had Chooch, it wasn't about his offense. We wanted Chooch because he was a leader behind the plate. We wanted Chooch because we knew he was going to get in the dirt for that Brad Lidge slider. We knew he was going to be able to lead these young pitchers through a game. We also knew that he was going to throw guys out. When he had that offensive game, I think both you guys will agree, that was something that was a revelation. That wasn't something that we expected. So, I never expected JT Realmuto to be a 30 home run catcher. I didn't. I expected him to be a 15 to 20 home run catcher. But my main issue for me, my main thing that I wanted out of JT Realmuto was a defensive leader that I never have to worry about. Put him behind the plate. He controls the game. He helps the pitchers. He throws guys out, which he does on the regular. That's what I need. We have enough offensive production on this team, in my opinion, to cover his slumps. He will never be like this forever. Okay, Kyle Schwarber was bat 193 a few days ago. Now he's up to 215. He'll probably be 250 by the end of the month. It can happen. So, Dan, am I wrong here? Are people overreacting to the JT Realmuto situation? What's your take on this whole thing?
I believe there's combinations of things that you said that I disagree with, but
yeah,
things I agree.
Up, man. I
agree with. He's making $24 million a year, so they wanted some offense in that contract as well. So there's no doubt about it. And to your point with Chooch, he was a spectacular caller of the game. JT is not.
You sure?
That's been documented that he does not handle the pitching staff as well as
they're pitching pretty well this year.
No, but it's just been stated that, I mean, they've gone over some of the NOLA home runs. Like, why would JT have called that pitch or set up there?
Are we sure that he's calling those pitches out? That's the thing. We don't know if that's coming from the clubhouse,
right? But bottom line is there was one game I'm like, don't sit. Why are you sitting down and into a lefty on a 2-strike pitch? Why are you sitting there? Boom, home run. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm texting my buddy right away. Now it's been documented that I'm drawing a complete blank on our stiff catcher we've had last year. I'm drawing a blank
on our stiff catcher that
last year, the past couple of years, the backup to JT. I'm drawing a blank. The bad mustache. We can
dude. Why
switch it? But Andrew Knapp.
Andrew
Knapp.
Can't hit Knapp.
Right, but the pitchers love pitching to him, and supposedly they love pitching to Stubbs as well. So JT is developing a reputation as a guy that does not call a great game, and I'm not making this up because I love JT's throwing arm. And to your point, where I agree with you that all his funk and his hitting isn't a deterioration before our eyes. The guy still runs like the wind for a catcher.
He's 31, 32 years old, man. Relax.
You know, who was interviewed? I listened to Bryson Stott being interviewed, and someone asked him a question: if one guy got angry and you had to avoid fighting in the locker room, who would it be? He goes, "Oh, I would not mess with JT Realmuto."
Really?
So, yeah, I thought he would have with Schwarber. That guy looks like a tank.
Yeah.
But
that's what I'm saying, dude. And he walks up. Listen, and that's the thing too. Schwarber at least walks up to some Bone Thugs Harmony, which means he's got a little hardcore streak in him. JT's walking up to like the samba or like they're like, come on, man. Like, I would never think that. But I know I'm stereotyping here, but it is what it is, right?
But real fast. I mean, if you want to throw some, for me, I want an on base percentage of around 350, and I want a slugging percentage minimum of 500. So you get a combination of OPS of 800 to 850 is where I want to see my ball players. And nobody is near that other than Bryce, who's above both categories big time.
Yeah, he's in a league of his own.
Stratosphere. But nobody to Al's point, nobody, even by accident, has a good on-base percentage or slugging percentage of the significant players in this team. I'm not talking about Odubel Herrera, who's got a decent one. I mean, I just mentioned I want a 550 slugging percentage. JT's at 365, so he's just not doing it. Right. So there's so to Al's point earlier, if they just start, and we've talked about this on many shows, it's like it seems like you hit together, you get in slumps together, and you know, Mr. June, Kyle Schwarber has been on fire this month. So, and Bryce Harper, those two have been really carrying the team with, like you mentioned, a resurgent youthful player in Stott, who's probably feeling like a piano's been lifted off his back because he's getting playing time.
Yeah.
And the coach is showing confidence in him.
And that speaks volumes, man.
Yeah.
Young guys need that. Adam, what's up, buddy? How you doing? He says, what is wrong with Castellanos right now? He's not producing with runners in scoring position. Here's what I will say. Right,
he's pressing a little bit.
Yes, he is. If you watch his press conference, he's one of the most calm, cool, and collective guys you'll ever meet. But he's probably harder on himself than anybody else. He's not one of those guys that's out there for money. Here's what I want everybody to understand. You got to follow the Castellanos story and understand this is another guy who wasn't predicted to be much of anything, who worked his tail off to get to where he's at right now. So he's very humble with where he's at, and he doesn't want to be striking out. He doesn't want to be reaching. Al, he wants to be that guy. Like we know he wants, like I know tonight, he strikes out the bases loaded. That's not what he wants to do. Yeah. And if you watch baseball last year for Cincinnati, he was an absolute beast. He didn't just all of a sudden lose all his talent. This isn't, the Monstars and Space Jam all of a sudden coming by and, ghosting them out, right, Al? I mean, this guy eventually is going to bounce back, right?
Yeah, I'm not. He's the least of my worries right now. I just think he's pressing. He's pressing. He's like, man, these people came in and gave me all this love. They gave me the money I wanted. I just want to produce. And he's going a little. I see a couple of times he's reaching. That's not him. He just has to relax. He'll be fine. I'm not. Trust me. He'll be fine. That's not the worry we have out of this team. I expect him to start bombing like he can and hitting base hits all over the park. And he's still not absolutely horrible. He's still coming up with his fair share. He's just not consistent right now, and he will be.
Yeah, I agree. Javon, what's up? Javon checking in says, Cass, yep, we know. Listen, here's a funny thing. Me and Javon were killing the Cincinnati team for DFS last year. And Winker, Castellanos, Suarez for the home run props, right? We were always in on Cincinnati. And they were a great 1-2 combo last year. And listen, they were hitting. Castellanos was like a 308 hitter last year. Like, people forget about that. This is a cat who hits not just for power, but for average as well. So, yeah, listen, I'm not concerned. He will be okay. He will 100% be okay.
The players that you have to be concerned about are will Alec Baum can develop.
And I think he will.
And, it's I feel bad for another young kid that came up and started doing well as Maton. He gets hurt like almost immediately. Moniak, I think we were excited about him, but
got sent down today.
But he was a product, I think, of spring training pitchers not showing their full arsenal.
You're right.
No, that's often the case.
That injury, he can't. That was just an awful time.
He can't hit a breaking ball, Al. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
Can't hit a breaking ball. You just watch Serrano in Major League, couldn't hit a curveball either.
Yeah, he needs some voodoo then.
he needs some voodoo.
I mean, but as a young kid, he felt the Philadelphia pressure of being the pick that he is and not producing yet. And then he had a great spring training. He had all the confidence he needed, and then bang, you get hit with the injury. So I mean, let's see how he can get his confidence back. Let's see if he gets his confidence back and see what happens.
Well, no, I think that's a good point, because that's what I was going to say, because you're right, Dan. I agree. Listen, spring training, you can't put a lot of stock in it. I get it. But when this is a former number one pick that for years it wasn't a curveball, he couldn't hit a fastball, then all of a sudden he was turning on these fastballs and he was doing really well. And now, boom, he gets injured. Now the psyche gets messed up again. Right now, yeah, exactly. Now, it's like he gets up again, man.
Hoskins out of here.
Hoskins, I hate Hoskins too. Now all of a sudden he's on a roll. Good. Listen, if it means Philly,
he'll be out for 25 in a month.
What was it? 1, 2, 3?
3-run homer.
So now it's 4 off. All right, look at that, man. Look at that, live on it. 4-4. My man Reese.
That's one person. If he's on fire, woo! But if he's not,
well, here's the thing though. Who does that help the most? If he's on fire, that's the Jason Worth kind of experiment, right? If Jason Worth's on fire, Howard gets pitches to hit. If Reese is on fire, guess who gets pitches to hit?
Right.
Bryce Harper. Right. So it's huge. It's huge. But listen, we got tons and tons of time here, but we're gonna segue into our other favorite team, which is the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay. We're gonna get into the 76ers because there's been a lot of off-season talk about, now we're talking about trading that 23 pick and, with Danny Green and, are we going to be okay? There's so many things, but we're going to go right into this. And again, this is going to be a new segment. This is going to be, right to Al. Al's going to lead this because he's going to tell us that everything is going to be okay.
This is the 2-minute warning with Al Griffin right here on Heat Ratio Sports.
Good, Al. You got the floor, bro.
All right. I really didn't get into a lot of Sixers talk. I went away on vacation, came back. And I really haven't got into a lot of the stuff that happened. Obviously, everybody was disappointed. Of course, I was. But if you guys have stayed in touch with us from the very beginning of the Harden trade, I never, ever said that this was the year. I always said that next year, which is the upcoming year, was going to be the year. With the right pieces, it could be the year. So we need Harden to opt in. I've heard a lot of people saying a lot of ridiculous things like let him go, and you can't. You can't, people. You cannot let Harden go, because if you let Harden go, we have nothing. We're over the cap. You cannot just bring somebody in with his money, because it doesn't work like that, people. Please understand. You cannot just let him walk. You have to make a trade, which would have to be either him or Tobias to be able to bring another piece in. You can't just bring pieces in because you want to bring pieces in. Now, too, if he comes back and he opts in for that 1 year. If he even doesn't say, all right, the next year he doesn't want to come back, we're still over the cap, people. So it doesn't matter to think that, if he says I don't want to come back the next year, we're even in worse position than we was before the Ben trade. So we have to sign him to a long-term deal. We have to. And then we have to see if we can make another move, either somehow with him, trading him after he signs, or doing a Tobias move or somebody else. It just doesn't work that I don't want him. I hate the guy. He's a bum. He can't play anymore. That doesn't matter. When you made the Ben trade, that was it. You were all in. And you got to see what happens from there. All right. Next thing is we have to have a huge year. A lot of people are down on him, but we have to have a huge year from Thibault. He has to be in the gym right now. He has to be in the gym right now. Every day he has to be, shooting those corner threes and getting a little bit off the dribble moves. We have to get both of those out of him and having somewhat of a handle to be able to do both. All right? Maxey is going to do his thing. I know maybe I probably wouldn't even say a week after the season was over, Maxey was in the gym working on his game. So I'm not even worried about him. Embiid is going to do his thing, and other players are going to do their thing. The problem is going to be, what can we do in the offseason to get better? It's a lot of big names out there. Forget about those. That's not happening unless we make a trade. So as all the people say, like Zach LaVine, Harris would have to be in some type of deal to get a Beal or Levine or Aiden or Kyrie or Miles Bridges or Brunson. That's what he would have to be in that deal to make any moves. So the real thing is, can we get those mid-levels? Can we get a veteran to come back in? Can we get a Drummond to say, all right, I'll come back again? Can we get a Bobby Portis to say, you know what, I'll give you guys a try this year? Can we get somebody like Gary Payton Jr. or Gary Payton II, maybe a combo guard like that can do a little, that won't cost you that much? A TJ Warren that says, I'm tired of doing the Indiana thing. I'll come to Philly and be a piece. A Tucker that says, you know what, I don't like what they were doing in Miami. I'll come to you for the same amount of money. A Wesley Matthews, a Whiteside, if Drummond doesn't want to come. Whiteside does exactly what Drummond does. All you need to do is grab rebounds. Grab rebounds. He's not the greatest, but you don't need a lot out of him. You just need serviceful backups, not superstars. Not superstars. A Stanley Johnson, maybe. I would love a Jeff Green, but he's just too old. I don't know if he can give you a whole lot. DiVincenzo that says, I'll come here on a 1-year deal to rebuild my career. And then, boom, all of a sudden, he's an awesome piece coming off the bench. Boom, look at that. I said it and he came out with it. Right on point, my man. So that would be, that is a great move. If you can convince him, look, I'll give you a mid-level exception. You come here and you rebuild what you are. That combo defensive guard that can come off and can shoot, coming from Villanova, coming back home. That would be beautiful for him to do. So those type of Gary Harris, those type of players.
Reggie Jackson.
No, he re-signed. He's not available. Those type of players are the type of players that we need to signing trades or mid-level exceptions or veteran minimums, that we can make this into the team that everybody wants us to be. We're not that far off, but it has to. It has to be the right pieces. I told you guys, you can't just throw a team together and we're going to just win a chip. It doesn't work like that. You have to build it. You have to have the right pieces. A little mix. So and then your starters.
Well, can I ask you a question, Alan Tone?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, we've been preaching this on our show for a while. Why not look within and develop your own? I mean, why not have an athletic Bassie as your backup center? Why do you need an over the hill Whiteside? Why not develop Isaiah? Why not throw Isaiah Joe 4-con minutes all year?
You could do that too. You could do that too. But will he work enough to overtake Korkmaz? Will he come back this year and in training camp? You already said, all right, Cork, he took your job. He takes your minutes, and we're rolling with him. Well, that happened.
It would if I was Doc at the end of the year meetings, as you say goodbye to the players, I'd say you have a huge opportunity in front of you, young man, and let's hope and Springer. Are they going to develop that kid?
No, he's not ready. He's not going to be ready yet. He's not. I mean, unless he takes a huge jump, I can't see him being ready. He was the youngest player in the NBA last year. I can't really see him making that jump enough to a hopefully title contender team, and he being ready to contribute.
All I know, if Jordan Poole was drafted on this team, he wouldn't be Jordan Poole.
No, I agree with that.
And that's what bothers me.
Our buddy Bill Fleming tapping in. Hold on, because
I forgot about Paul Reed. Yeah.
So, but not just that. Bill, got to give you a shout out, man. You are looking trim, my man. You're looking sexy. Bill is looking sexy, bro.
I push him on the path.
I love it, man. I love
it. Absolutely. B-ball Paul will be an important cog. If you don't want to go to Drummond or the Whiteside or any other way, move. He can. I would give him 100% the chance to be the backup center this year. Absolutely, and I want him in the gym all summer too. And by the way, I wanted to make sure I said that. Did we just hit another one? Yes, we did. We just had another home run.
No,
all right. So
Al's all over it, man.
That's the replay. No, that was the replay.
Yeah, they went to commercial.
They got me on that one. All right.
But Al, real fast, Al.
Hold on. I want to forget this thought. This thought. It's not just your team that you have to have playing well. You also have to have luck. The Milwaukee Bucks was in Boston way, and Middleton did not play the whole series. He did not play the whole series, folks. That's luck that you got to have. Right. It's a totally different series if Middleton plays. They got lucky there. Jimmy got hurt in that series. And the kid, Hero, was hurt like the last 2 or 3 games of that series. And all of those things. And Larry was hurt. All of those things have to fall in line.
We had that luck, though, Al.
No, what luck we had?
We didn't face Lowry,
right?
No, Larry. I'm not. But Larry isn't the kid though.
The Sixers team should have got through this Miami team.
Yes. We should have won that series.
The path that they had the past 2 years was the dream path, and they didn't get past the second round. I mean, you can't lose to the Hawks. Yeah, imagine if they got through the Hawks. Well, it would have, should have. You know what I'm saying?
Also, we got to be healthy too.
Yeah, obviously, the big man, getting hurt was a killer.
Trevor checking in from South Florida. What's up?
And we find out it was not only the thumb, but it was another finger too that he had surgery on the same hand. Like nobody knew that, and then all of a sudden they just put it in the presser let me just throw that in there. 2 things was hurting on the one hand. That's a problem.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Dan had a good point. I get it, right? I understand what you're saying. I do. But my thing is exactly what Dan said. We had that luck, right? And we consistently kept saying, this is the time, this is the window, this is the opening, right? We kept saying that. And one of the biggest things, Javon said, I want to get to this because when you talked about playing those younger guys, this is the issue. Do we trust Doc to develop these young guys? If your name's not Maxey, you don't play. If your name's not Maxey, you don't play. And this has been Doc's MO.
That was luck.
You're right.
Because if Ben was there, we would never know that Maxey is who Maxey is right now.
Correct.
Exactly.
Period.
So I think that's a big issue going forward. And, listen, Trevor throws it right out there. Doc Rivers not making him a second round since 2012, right? Will checking in says George and Danny get exposed during the playoffs.
Goes back to my point of this team has no athletes other than Matisse and Maxey.
Well, Danny Green would not be on this team next year. He either is going to get traded, and even if he doesn't get traded, he isn't coming back to well after the All-Star break next year. So you can't count on it. He won't be playing this year. I don't think one way or another, but I'm hearing this 23rd pick and him to get something. I don't know what yet, but something.
We just need athletes.
Yes.
We need wings, athletic wings.
Oh, we've been saying this. This is what kills me. This is every year. Yeah, I get it. But I think we've had so much luck, right? Joel Embiid was luck. We weren't supposed to draft Joel Embiid. That was luck. Tyrese Maxey was luck. We weren't. So we've been given how much luck do we frigging need, right? I mean, listen. At the end of the day, our boy Nick Wiggins, who's balling out right now in the playoffs for Golden State, right? I get it, right? We had the win list for Wiggins. I'm not sure, Nick. We need a butter back. Not sure what we need a butter back.
Tony, you think his Wiggins point was more a butterback? Yeah. Do you think his Wiggins point was more towards you could have gotten a player like that now? Not.
Yeah, but Wiggins wasn't Wiggins until he came to Golden State with the coach and the great coaching. So you can't say, what was you thinking about Wiggins 3 years ago before he went to Golden State? He was like, he's a pure bust. He's never going to amount to anything. He went to Golden State. They restructured him. They gave him the confidence. They gave him everything he needs. And that's why you're getting everything that you want out of him. But it's different. It's different.
How about he's playing with Steph Curry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about this here. He's playing with with a goat. I mean, spacing on the floor. I mean, come on. I mean, it's open and wide up for him. I mean, it's. Nick said Jimmy Butler. He messed up. I was going to say, yo, Nicky Nuts getting us all off track here with bring butter back. Wait, hold on.
Gonna get myself a roll of bread.
Wait, what's this? Trevor saying, Tony, did you see the Jason Tatum tweet? Jabari Parker greater than Andrew Wiggins. See, I didn't.
He said that today, Trevor. He said that today. If he said that today, that's an awful tweet, and he's an idiot, and that's why they're going to lose on Thursday. That's got to be one of the dumbest tweets if he said that
from 2014. Bringing it back up. Bringing it back up.
Okay.
And Fleming said, Bill says, until he got coached up, I agree. He was written off to some degree. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Coaches and systems make the player. We all know about that, right? And to end this segment in closing on this, because we're going to get some nice heated coaching debates here with Dan. But exactly what Al said. Remember, NBA is a money game. It's not about athletics when we're talking about trading. It's not about talent evaluation. It's about money. So everybody remember that we have a max guy who needs to be traded, like Al said. So you know what you get back in a trade for Tobias Harris? You get John Wall, another guy that doesn't go up to his value with the money that he's receiving. Okay, you don't trade Tobias Harris to get Zach LaVine. You trade him to get another money bust guy that's just sitting out there. Maybe he's not a bust, but he's not playing, right? So you have to remember that it's money for money. That's why these dead contracts mean a lot. So, yeah, this would have been a different series if Milwaukee was out there with Chris Middleton, and especially with Miami. Obviously, they were all of those guys were absolutely hindering that Miami offense. But right now, we talked about Doc Rivers a lot, and we're gonna talk about some coaching. And the reason why we're gonna talk coaching is because we've seen a lot of coaches get fired in this town, right? We talk about Doc Rivers getting fired. We say we want him to get fired, right? Not fired yet, but we were also glad to see Joe Girardi go. But how about the coaches that got fired that you wish you could have back? Now, I definitely have one. But this is going to be interesting to see what Dan Green's got in store for us when we talk about coaches that are fired that we want back.
It is time for quick takes with Dan Old School Green right here on Heat Ratio Sports.
Go ahead, Dan. You got the floor.
To Tony's point, I've been riding we had to get rid of Joe Girardi and we had to get rid of Doc Rivers train for a long time. Obviously, Doc's still around, but both when they were hired excited me, and then the past few years have disappointed me beyond belief. So then it got me thinking about what coaches have we let go that, my God, I wish were back in town. Now, some of these coaches that I'm going to reference had to go, but if I could snatch them up right now, I would in a heartbeat. The first guy that comes to mind is Andy Reid. He had a 14-year run with this team, I believe, and it seemed like it was time to go when he was let go. But in retrospect, maybe it was more of a time to develop a new culture within that team. His philosophy completely changed when he went to Kansas City. All the things that we were imploring him to do on the Eagles, he started doing with Kansas City. That amazing speed at the wide receiver, the amazing diverse running backs that he would have coming out of the backfield. He still cultivated that quarterback. His McNabb was Mahomes. So could you imagine an Andy Reid hire after Doug Peterson? Like, let's hypothetically say he was available. Andy Reid's a guy I would love back in this town. From a hockey perspective, the Flyers have been a mess, as we know. Revolving door with coaches. They fired a coach who went on the very next year to win the Stanley Cup in Craig Berube. They had that coach in-house, and they let him go. That guy was going to establish a culture. I don't know why they didn't give the man a chance. And then you go back through the years with the Flyers, and they had guys like Pat Quinn, Mike Keenan, that probably were let go too early. Now, when you look at the Eagles beyond Andy Reid, over the years, I started watching the Eagles with Vermeil. You have Vermeil, Marion Campbell, had to go. Buddy Ryan was a great hire. Couldn't get over the hump. I might have kept him, though, knowing what we knew when we got Rich Kotite on this team. But I don't think I would want him back long term. So Eagles, I go Andy Reid if I could bring back. And Flyers, for sure, Craig Berube. Sixers, I don't know if there's a coach that you can bring back, per se.
Sure. Come on, man.
Well, you're going to say Larry Brown?
No, it's a joke. No, I'm just kidding. I'm thinking
Brett Brown.
I'm just thinking about all the stiffs they had.
Right. I mean, after Billy Cunningham retired, they had Matt Guokas. They let him go.
Bring back Eddie Jordan.
Jimmy Line. Oh, Eddie Jordan was horrible. So Doug Moe. Oof. So the Sixers have been a disaster with coaches until the Larry Browns came aboard. And that's what we were hoping we got in Doc Rivers, a quote, legendary top 10 coach of all time, according to a recent poll. And the Phillies, again, if you look through their history, Charlie Manuel's time probably came to an end, but how would he look with this club? Charlie Manuel was not an X and O guy, but he was a manager of men in the locker room. Imagine Charlie Manuel of 2006, 7, 8 with this squad. That's the kind of guy you need coaching this team. So if I had to snap my fingers and make coaches of today back, it would be Reed, Manuel, and Craig Berube. I got nothing for the Sixers, Tone. I'm sorry.
That's
nothing
okay.
now.
That's okay. That's okay. What I will say is, I love that. We're trying to do something different here. And again, you'll hear this every week. We do a little something different, individualized, and you're going to get to the final judgment real soon about the Eagles. But honestly, I know it's going to sound crazy. And Dan, I don't know if you're going to agree with this or not, but talk about Phillies, man. Give me Gabe Kapler back. I listen. I know it's crazy, okay, but I'm not even looking at teams. But you cannot ignore what he's been able to do in San Francisco. Okay, please name me.
No, you're right. He deserved Coach of the Year. He deserved Coach of the Year.
And he's doing it again this year.
Yeah.
Didn't they just sweep the Dodgers?
Well,
in one of the hardest divisions of baseball.
You know who the Terry Francona of yesterday was? I mean, did I do a Freudian slip? The Gabe Kapler of yesterday was Terry Francona.
Yeah.
So there was a guy that the second he left the Phillies, he won a World Series with Boston.
But look at the roster he had at Boston,
and they ran him out of town here.
Right, like Gabe Kapler, as much as we thought he was a knucklehead and all with his anal bleaching and his tanning and all this kind of shit, right?
What?
I mean,
whoa!
I missed that one.
You can't just go past that and.
I missed that one.
No, you got that. And listen, I mean, everybody thought he was a little quirky, right? But listen, I mean,
what?
The guy was fully analytics, right? Fully analytics, but he was a player's manager, right? The guys like to play for Gabe. It just is what I mean. Again, he's making something out of nothing. He's got guys playing that we never thought would be able to play at this level.
No, so I agree.
It's going to be talked about.
Would you also think, Tone, that he probably learned from mistakes here that he took with him over there?
Yeah. They'll go to body shape. Yeah, Dan, absolutely. There was probably decisions he made that he was able to learn on the job here. And now that he's taking them into San Francisco, say, okay, I know not to do this. But for the love of God, Darren Ruff is doing something in San Francisco on a part-time basis. I mean, tell me, Alex Wood? Oh, really? I mean, just what it boggles my mind how good he's been able to be in that division. So I definitely seeing what we've gone through, and I hope that Rob Thomson proves me wrong. But I just think that going through everything that we have, it just, again, it's been an issue for a while, and I'm glad you brought up bringing back coaches because I think it's a very, very good topic conversation. I think, Dan, because you have three, what we'll do is we'll do a vote after the show. I'm curious to see what the audience, so to speak, those three guys you talk about bringing back. No specific order. If you could pick one, which one would you bring back? So make sure at Heat Ratio Sports you give us a follow. Make sure you give us a follow at Heat Ratio Sports on all social formats as well. You're going to get the 2-minute warning. You're going to get
hold on.
What?
That's not going to be a fair vote.
Why?
You already know everybody's going to say the Eagles.
You don't know that. You don't know that. There was a lot. Listen, man. There was a lot of Andy Reid hate in this town.
And with this offense,
yes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There was a lot. I'm telling you, people ran him out of here.
I want everybody to vote.
Well, if I'm voting, just on Dan's, I'm going Berube, and I'm not a hockey guy. Yes, I'm not. I am. I'm going Berube. Because here's why.
Man, you're not going Berube.
Well, you gotta go Berube because of the culture.
No, he's not going.
If in this this scenario of pixie dust and whatnot, I go Andy Reid.
Right, me too,
for sure. But I mean,
Bill says he's never want Andy back.
This new Andy Reid with this dynamic offensive line.
If we're picked to be, I don't know what we're picked because I really haven't seen a lot of people predicting where exactly. They're just saying that they think we're going to win the NFC East. I think if we had Andy Reid as our coach, we would be a Super Bowl contender. Everybody would be saying it throughout the whole league. 100%.
Well, listen, we're going to.
You don't think that?
Well, we're going to let the audience decide this, but
okay.
But hold on, you brought up the Eagles. That's going to be our segue in this conversation. So, as all you know, it's the final judgment time here because I got some interesting takes here on the Philadelphia Eagles, and these aren't hot takes. This is straight from what I've been reading and what I've seen, and I got to answer a question here. Could Nick Sirianni be the next big thing?
It is now time for the final judgment with Tony Jigsaw Cutillo, brought to you by Heat Ratio Sports.
So here's the thing. Okay, we all read, and obviously it's what we like to do. And again, I fully recommend if you're not subscribed to The Athletic, there's no sponsor here, nothing like that. But if you want some really good content, The Athletic is where to go. But Al's going to know who I'm talking about here. But today, legendary writer in City of Philadelphia, Ruben Frank, for NBC Sports Philadelphia, puts out an article. Right? It's unbelievable about Nick Sirianni. And I have to ask the question because I was one guy who specifically said, Nick Sirianni, this guy did a press conference and couldn't string together 2 sentences. This guy's a dope. It's never going to be good. No way. How do you walk into an interview for a job and you can't even string a sentence together, right? But then I noticed something throughout the year. He was a young coach. He was given an opportunity. He started to learn how the players think, how the game is played. He was okay with admitting his mistakes. He was a leader of the guy. They all gelled to Nick Sirianni. And I noticed he was not afraid to change things up, not afraid to adjust. The key word meaning adjust, something we've never seen in this town. And then Ruben points out that what he did in the offseason was he went out and he sought the advice of 2 legendary coaches, and Dick Vermeil and Jay Wright. 2 guys, not how do I coach football? How do I coach men? How do I lead a team? What are the intangibles I need? And I'm telling you right now, all I need to do is hear that. Here's a guy who gets it. Here's a guy who wants to be better. And here's a guy that goes, if you want to be mentored by 2 of the greatest in the game, it's going to rub off on you. Okay. And I know Jay Wright's basketball, it doesn't matter. What he was able to do at a collegiate level, again, young men. Look at what he did. He goes to Vermeil, who was able to win at the highest level, who was able to coach guys that were veterans. What do veterans need? Then he goes to Jay Wright. How do I coach these young guys? I got guys like Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, all these young personalities. What do? He gets both sides, and then he puts his spin on it. I'm telling you right now, we are absolutely going to rue the day that we did not give this guy a chance. And I'm going to say I was wrong already, and it's only in year 2, okay? Just by the way this guy prepares and the way this guy is driven. I am so excited that he is our head coach, and I think he's flying completely under the radar as a coach. We've seen this in young guys. McVay got the title right away because he was flashy, right? We saw guys like Josh McDaniels at first fail, go back, and now I think he is going to succeed. But we see young guys a lot that aren't willing to adjust. We see first-year head coaches, whether they're young or not. Listen, look what happened. Okay, and Dan, what was the guy's name in New York for the Giants? Help me out. Came
Judge.
from McAdoo. Ben McAdoo.
And then Joe
right?
Judge. Yeah.
Right. Joe, these guys, some of them don't get it. They don't last. Nick Sirianni is going to be here to stay. So that, for my thing right now, Bill checking in says, Tony could not agree more. Hope we're both right. Yes. The moves we made, the coaching staff, there's a lot of things to like this year about this team. And I think we're going to be very, very excited. I'm predicting. I'm absolutely saying that I'm not predicting, but I am confident we're winning 12 games this year. I will be absolutely disappointed if we win less than 11. We have an extra game. We have an extra game this year on the schedule. The teams are inferior. I know we're going to win some that we should lose. I know we're going to lose some we probably should win. But we made the playoffs last year. Jalen Hurts will pass for 3,800 plus yards this year. I'm going to call that out right now. This is going to be a different style of offense. This is going to be a very electric offense. May take a couple, here and there. It's going to be like the Phillies. We watched the Phillies brought in all this young talent, or not young talent, new talent, and we expected them to gel right away. I know Al talked about this with Hard, a little different because these are younger guys, for the Philadelphia Eagles. But it's just going to be interesting to see how they all gel right away. But he's definitely, Dan, he's on the right track by getting the right advice from the right people.
The one thing I do like about him that his press conferences belie is his fury on the sideline. I've seen him rip into officials. I've seen him tear into his players. And that's not the all shucks guy who can't string words together in a press conference. So I like that side of him. It did bother me, or it does bother me, his mindset with the OTAs. I think if you want to put this powerful offense that you're projecting together, you got to work on it. And the lack of practice that his attitude towards the it bothers me. Listen, when you seek knowledge from experts, it's never a bad thing. Nope. Never a bad thing. Now, the only thing I could say about Jay Wright is, it's easier to coach kids that don't make money, and you're making $7 million a year versus a coach who's making 10 times less than the players he's coaching. So, but if he's seeking Jay Wright's knowledge on how to talk to and deal with 22-year-olds that don't have that monster contract yet, then again, you're right. It's a good thing. How to relate to young athletes. So that's all well and good. I think a lot of the adjustments we saw Siriani make were after he was lambasted at press conferences after poor performances. He literally took what the fan base and the Ray Didingers and the Seth Joyners were screaming for the following game. How did he do against good teams and good quarterbacks? They got annihilated. So they had a easy schedule, and we've already talked about our concerns for Jalen Hurts' progression at the end of last year, and they had an easy schedule. So I just don't know. I think everything hinges on this quarterback. Do I think Sirianni can figure it out as a coach? Absolutely. Do I think he's naturally going to get better? Absolutely. Is he in a position where he's going to be allowed to get better? Absolutely. You said we're going to rue the day we get rid of him. I don't think we're getting rid of him. So I don't think we're going to rue that day.
No, I'm sorry. I meant rue the day that we criticized him.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant.
No, and I raised my hand. I was too. I wrote an article for another organization I was with before I stopped writing, where I called him the puppet coach.
Yeah.
He was just hired to be a puppet for the upper management. And to some extent, I think that was true. But I think he's finding his own way. But again, all this goes out the window, and it won't even be his fault if his quarterback doesn't take that next step. Because we did upgrade this team big time, and kudos to Howie on that. Another guy we've criticized heavily. So I've taken up enough of Al's time. Al, your thoughts on Nick Sirianni?
Oh, wait. That person right there is definitely was the Howie person that crushed him every chance he got.
I did 100%. I'm not afraid, but again, Al, here's the thing: as long as we win, I'll eat crow every day of the week.
It's true. The way you win, though, Tone. Right? It was an ugly. We had talk about taking advantage of your schedule, but how did we do against legitimate quarterbacks? We got annihilated every game. And that goes to Gannon, but, Sirianni can do something about that if he really wanted to.
But, Al, what I want your before we go to the Jigsaw Chronicles here and end this show, you got to give me your Jalen Hurts perspective here, because I know how you feel about Sirianni. I saw the head nod, and I get it, right? But what I want from you, because again, this offense, you were very critical of why Miles Sanders not getting the ball, what's going on. Now they have a legit AJ Brown, and I know everybody wants to hate and say, oh, well, maybe he's really not the best, a top 20, stop. It's all nonsense. So I've been, one thing everybody should know and give me is I started the hashtag all in with Jalen, okay, a year and a half ago. I consistently said I'm in with this guy. Okay.
And I also said too, we will know everything we need to know after this year.
You're right.
And I said that from the very beginning when he first took over, and everybody was like, oh hell no, get him out of here. I was like, dude, relax.
Everybody has to relax, right? No, and that's why I want to ask you, because I brought up and people said I was nuts, but please, this is only going to be his second full year, right? Even though it's his third year, it's his second full year. And if you go back and look at these top, spectacular quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, please look at their first 2 years.
Right.
Okay, please. Not everybody comes in the league and is a friggin' superstar.
I don't know why people can't understand it. Then you just snap your finger and you just come in and just take the league by storm. And it doesn't always work like that, people. I know this is Philadelphia and nobody has patience, but come on, be realistic a little bit, just a little bit.
A little bit, Al, because tell me if you agree with this. Because again, not everybody's Joe Burrow. Okay, I get it. Right. I said this before. Do I think that Jalen Hurts is going to win multiple Super Bowls? No, I never, ever said that. You have to be lucky to win a Super Bowl. But what I'm saying is this kid is legitimate enough to where we talked about Nick Castellanos being hard on himself. There's nobody harder on Jalen Hurts than Jalen Hurts. We all know that. He has been successful at every level up to this point. Okay, so at the end of the day, if he can work out his coverage reads, if he can work out his accuracy, not his arm strength, I get it. It's not about arm strength. It's about accuracy. Drew Brees wasn't the strongest guy on the block, but he was accurate, right? He was accurate. So, Al, Jalen Hurts, man, what's your take this year, his second full year Eagles quarterback?
I think I have no doubt. He's going to take another level. He's going to go up to another level this year. I think he knew more than which I don't understand in this town. You think he doesn't have pressure on himself? You think when he makes awful passes, he's not killing himself? You think he's not watching the same exact tape that everybody that Baldy was doing after the games and Ray, and congratulations on retirement, Ray. Legend.
Legend.
And I'm gonna miss him in this season. You think he doesn't? He knows. And they've been talking about in the OTAs. Almost every wide except for our new guy, everybody else has seen the difference already in accuracy and how he's positioning his feet and the things that he knows that we know that he needed to work on. So let the man play. He will do everything that we need him to do. Is just whether everything else is going to help us get to where we need to get to, which obviously is the playoffs in a good position, winning the division and all those things. But one thing at a time. Let the kid play, and he has every opportunity. He has running backs, he has wide receivers, and he has a line. That's all you need. It's all on him. And trust me, you don't have to beat him up. He knows what he has to do.
And Tone, real fast, and I didn't want to come off as anti Jalen Hurts. I just don't know. I want to give the kid this year, as Al pointed out. But one thing that you referenced that you can't change, and I have a minor disagreement, is his arm strength. I've been saying for 2 years, I pray to God he works with Tom House. Tom House is a guy that has a philosophy Why do tennis players never have sore shoulders? Because they don't let go of the racket. So he developed a strategy where he trains the arm, where he has the players holding weighted balls and they throw, but they don't let go of the ball. And it develops arm strength. And he's increased pitcher's velocity 5 to 7 to 8 miles an hour. And now he's working with quarterbacks.
Really?
Yeah. And he worked with Matt Ryan. Yep. Tom House. Look him up. And he worked with Matt Ryan.
No, I've heard of Tom House. I just haven't heard of that philosophy. That's a great philosophy.
Yeah, it was an HBO special I watched years ago. It was phenomenal.
Okay.
A guy went to coach. He's a coach that was a major league prospect that had a sore shoulder, was a high school coach, went to his training just to help his ball players. And then all the training built his shoulder back up. And the guy wound up getting a minor league contract because he was throwing like 95 miles an hour just by going to teach his kids this philosophy. But the long and short of it, Matt Ryan went to see him following year, won the MVP. So I think you might see some increased arm strength. Let's hope the accuracy and footwork is also something that Tom House works on, which I believe it is, just the throwing technique in general. But he also helps people with their arm strength.
That would be a revelation. Honestly.
Talk about that he worked on stuff in the offseason, but they haven't let anything out the bag on who exactly he worked with. Have you guys read anything?
I think it's Tom House.
No, but have you confirmed that, or is it just a rumor? Because normally you hear if somebody works with somebody, it'll be all over the place. I haven't heard 100% that it was him. So I obviously he was working with somebody, but whether it was him, I don't know.
All right.
Javon says, I think I heard on the radio that Hurts was working with House.
Thanks, Javon. Okay. I heard it too. I just wasn't exactly sure if it was speculative or actually confirmed.
Okay.
But again, this is what makes a player great, right? And again, great in many different avenues. I'm not saying again he's going to be an MVP. What I'm saying though is this kid will give us the opportunity to compete. And that's what we need to do, right? We need the opportunity to compete. So, going to be interesting. We got a lot.
Can't wait.
Listen, football season, man. Listen, we're an hour and 6 minutes into this. We're gonna cut this off. We're gonna have a little fun with this last segment. We'll push the AFC, the NFC West talk till next week. We're gonna talk about the big three with Ice Cube. We got a good topic for next week. Start thinking about that. Ice Cube's big three starts real soon. I want to hear what your big three would be if you could pick your past or present, maybe mix and match, whatever you could do. Who would your big three be out there on the blacktop? But again, make sure to follow at Heat Ratio Sports as well for all the new and exciting content. Bill checking in, love his attitude. He's got a little edge. He seems to be ready for the moment. And that's the last thing I will say, Bill. I completely agree. He's showing that the stage is not bigger than Jalen Hurts, and that's a big deal. When
the locker room loves him. That's important.
Yes, they absolutely love him.
Love him. They will run through brick walls for him right now.
And that's huge. And that's 100% huge. So let's get into a little fun segment here we call Jigsaw's Chronicles. Okay. And so the reason why is every week, I didn't do this last week, but every week, man, stuff just bothers me. Everything bothers me. Whether I'm in a supermarket, whether I'm in a gas station, whether I'm in a Wawa, sorry, Bill, but so many things absolutely bother me. But tonight, because again, the Wawa, this all resonates. So the one thing that bothered me from Wawa was they would sell hot dogs in the plastic containers that had no breathing room. So when I would get the hot dog, the roll was so soggy, and I would pick it up, and the hot dog would fall right out. Like, please put some holes in the damn hot dog case. But tonight, Jigsaw Chronicles resonates with Rita's Water Ice. And right, so here's my thing. Sometimes it's common sense. And I hate to say this because I know it's young kids working there, and I have young kids of my own, right? But sometimes common sense has to prevail. So they have this wonderful thing called a gelati, which is spectacular. If people don't like a gelati, they're crazy. And my wife actually got me on this new kick. Not only do I get the gelati, which is the ice cream, water ice cream, but you get I call them Jimmy's, not sprinkles. Jimmy's on the ice cream. Okay. So
Rainbow Jimmy's
oh, yeah, I gotta check it out. Rainbow Jimmy's with vanilla, a vanilla with tangerine, like a creamsicle with the Jimmy's. Listen, it's to die for. But here's the thing: not everybody eats the gelati when they order it. Most of us, for the most part, I gotta go and I gotta order 8 things for everybody in my house, right? So I'm already struggling, right? So what happens is I get a lid. Well, they absolutely destroy my gelato. Looks like it went through like 8 years of Vietnam War when I get it back. And they hand it to me and I look at it and I'm like, what happened? Right? Like, what happened? Please tell me. Like, do me a favor. If you're putting this much in there, 2 things need to happen. Either use a bigger damn cup.
No bubble lid?
Right. No, yeah, what's on with the bubble? No bubble lid. It's like a hatchet lid that they throw on there.
They're cutting.
No.
I think they're cutting their cost down.
Right.
Yeah, it has to be a bubble lid. It has to be a bubble lid. So
they have the bubble lids for the ice cream. But they don't
won't do it on the gelati.
Right. That's why my bullets in here. If anybody readers is listening,
I had a bubble lid on my gelatis back in the day.
Right. Well, here's the thing.
They changed
the bubble lids.
Yeah.
You know why? You know why? I think it's because of the cup. Because the gelati cup is paper, right?
Yeah.
And the ice cream is plastic. So the plastic bubble cup goes on top of the plastic. And you can't put a bubble cup on top of the paper.
But you can get a frozen drink in a plastic cup. So put the damn gelati in a plastic cup.
Yeah.
Have you noticed what they've done to their pint containers, Tone?
What's that?
Have you noticed what they've done to their pint containers?
No, what have they done?
It's paper. It's paper. It's so annoying. It's cutting costs. It's cutting costs.
Right.
And maybe they're going eco-friendly, you know.
I mean, I don't know.
I got a pint the other day and I was like, what is this?
It ripped on me when I was stupid.
Yeah. See, that's a total violation. You're like $5 for a water ice now, and you can't even get a good spoon. They give you a short midget spoon that you can't even get in there.
Vertically challenged, then. Vertically challenged.
I'm just saying, man. Like, come on. Like,
what happened to the long ones? They don't do the long ones anymore.
They jip you now.
Now, like,
I don't know what's going on. Like, I came home, I get 2 gelatis. I can't even get to the ice cream because I got you might as well give me a stick from one of those like Italian ices that you used to get back in the day. Like,
you gotta get a Dairy Queen big red spoon, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So that's just please, readers, you got to do better. Just do better, please. Do better.
I'll let my family know.
Please do that. Please do that. My man Mike Mike, we are ending the show on some Jigsaw Chronicles, man. So all I'm saying is, if you get the gelati at Rita's, man, they got to go to a bubble lid here, man. It's just they got to go to the bubble lid. I have next week. I have a jury duty Jigsaw Chronicles that you don't want to miss because. Let me just tell you,
that's a knock on wood topic right there.
We just have some really stupid people in the world. I'm just going to throw it out there. We really do. I can't. They're lucky that I didn't get held in contempt at jury duty, but just for stupidity. That's all I gotta say. Just for stupidity. Like I don't understand. What
stupidity from the people or the people that work there? Which one?
No, stupid people. Like, I just don't get it, man.
In general.
In general. Like last thing I'll say, I gotta say one thing on this, right? So when you go. So I don't know last time anybody's had jury duty, right? So I go to jury duty on Monday, and it's like you walk in, you check in, yada, yada, yada. You got a whole room of like 100 chairs, and they go, hey, there's a quiet room in the back that has like, not reclined chairs, but nice comfy chairs, have a little tray for your laptop, stuff like that. So, and this is Bucks County. This is in Philadelphia. So I go, okay, cool. So I sit down, I go in there, nice and spread out, right? Because listen, one thing about COVID that I do like is I don't like people up in my business anyway. Like, I love the 5, like 6. How about 12 feet? 12 feet, okay? Whatever, like, please. So I get in there, I get all my stuff together, right? I'm all comfy, get my laptop out. Nobody in there. So here comes this Willy Wonka looking dude come in, right? And he's walking and he's coming in. And I can already see he's got the tissue in his hand. He's all nasally, like wiping his nose. Don't this dude plop right next to me? So I look at him. I said, I said, yo, cuz. I said, there's other seats in here, man. Like, why you got to sit next to me? Like, you can barely breathe. I can smell what he ate for breakfast. Like, dude, like, why are you sitting next to me? So then here's the worst part. So now I got to unplug all my stuff. I finally get a spot with an outlet, right? Because that's huge. I got to keep my stuff charged. So I unplug everything, walk to the other side of the room. I get the lady with the walker that needs 20 feet of room next to me over there. So I can't win. So I'm like, you know what, dude? I'm done. I just packed all my stuff out. I went to the hallway and sat on a bench all by myself for 5 hours. I couldn't take it, man. Like, I just don't get it. And then you got the woe is me guy that's in there. They give you the orientation. It's really not that simple. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. And then you got the Johnny come lately with the hand. Sorry, can I ask a question? How long do I have to go to the bathroom? Are you kidding me, dude? How long do I have to go to the bathroom? Like, how do you even answer that? Like, the lady's like, well, sir, it's down the hall. He's like, but is there a time limit? Yeah, we're timing you to go to the bathroom, cuz. Like, what kind of question is that? Like, I can't. I just can't. Like, these things I cannot deal with.
He must have had the Primos across the street.
I don't know, man. Like why? Like, I don't understand. Like, and then here, I'll tell you another part. So, because I like to argue, if you don't know this by now, but so I walk in, and first thing I got the Don Knotts Rent-A-Cop right away, emptying the trash, and he sits there and goes, hey, that's not going to do, right? And I said to him, I said, excuse me, no shorts. I said, no shorts. What are you talking about, man? I'm like, whatever. So I just disregard. Just empty the trash, bro. You're good. Just keep going. I want to keep walking. So I start walking. I get in the line, right? First thing I get, the security guard goes, we have a problem here. I said, what's that? Shorts. No shorts. I said, where is it saying no shorts?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Right on the paper. I look at the paper. I said, sir, can you please show me where it says no shorts? The paper. Well, it's on the video. I said, what video?
What video? Yeah.
The video that's on the paper. I said, can you show me on the paper where the video is? No video. Right? Yeah. So he says, listen, you can be sent home for that. So I said,
good.
Send me home.
No, you should have said good.
Well, no. And to reschedule, right? But here's the best thing. So I turn around, and there's an older lady behind me in shorts. So I said, wait a minute. Her legs are good, but mine aren't? Like, I don't understand. So it's cool. She can show a little skin. I can't show no skin. I don't understand. So I'm getting set. So now he's red. So now I get pulled out of line. So now I'm the trouble guy, right? So now they got to go ask for another opinion. I'm like, wait a minute. Are we really asking for a second shorts opinion here? It's freaking jury duty. Like, at the end of the day, I just want to. Hey, yo, here's the best part. This is how I got to end on this. Here's the best part. They make me watch the video. They line me up in a special room. Right. Well, wait, here's the best part. So guess what the first person is? I can't make this up. The first person on the video is wearing a backwards hat, a Flyers shirt, and shorts. So I said, wait a minute. The guy goes, oh, well, this video was made 2 years ago. I'm like, wait a minute. So now you're showing me an old video that's not even updated, but you want to send me home. Like, please. Like, I don't want to be here anyway.
Yeah, you can't. You can't make that up.
Right. It's like at the end of the day, it's just like, this stuff follows me, fellas. I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe it's just me though, because
I know not to wear shorts if I ever have jury duty.
Yeah. Well, they were going to send me home, so
I wasn't even thought of that.
Right.
So you trying to tell me is 95 degrees outside? They're worrying about if you got shorts on or not?
Yeah. Worry about if you got shorts. Wow. Like I'm a bad drawer if I got shorts on. Look at this guy's shorts. He must not be able to get a good verdict. Like, come on, man. Like what is that? Right? And wait. I'll just end this on this last thing because now I'm on a roll. So they tell you to park in a garage. So you park in a garage, you print the ticket out, and they tell you specifically, do not pay with a credit card because they'll give you the validation. So I get it, right? It's got a QR code, huge QR code on it. I go in, right? Right, yeah. So they validate it. I come out, looks like a friggin' Phillies game, like just let out, right? And I'm like, here we go. I'm going to be here forever. There's only 2 lanes, right? Everybody waiting. So I'm sitting there. Why do I get in the line? Don't move, right? So I'm sitting there. It's not moving. So now I'm one of them dudes like yelling and throwing his hands up, right? Like you can imagine, right? So I look out and here's this older guy, like not older, like what I mean is like not handicapped, like old, like it's older, right? Just a normal older guy. I'm watching him and he's just sitting there. So I'm like, sir, do you need help? And he's just like waving me, giving me the wave off, right? Giving me the wave off, right? Yo, 19 minutes. We're sitting there. This dude ain't moving, right? He's not moving. Finally, I get up. I'm like, sir, what is the issue? My slit won't scan. I'm like, sir, can I try to scan it? No, nobody's touching my ticket, right? He says, I said, look, dude, here's the thing. We've been sitting here for 20 minutes, okay? So I'm either going to rip the ticket out and scan it myself, or we're going to push you through the gate, okay? So somehow, some way, we're getting through here, right? And right away, he gives me the ticket. Right? I get the ticket. Boop, boop, the thing opens. I said to him, I said, like honestly, what's wrong with you, man? So the first thing I did is I wrote a survey back telling them that they need whoever that Don Knotts security guard empty the trash, they need him up there helping people scan these tickets.
Just in case.
Yeah, it's not that difficult, man. It's not that difficult. I mean, I'm sweating right now because I was so worked up over this. It was absolutely riduculous.
Imagine if you didn't go up there and help him. If you didn't go up there and help him, you would still be there right now.
I'd still be there, man. I just like we are such a dumb society. People just can't follow directions. I don't know what it is.
Normally, they have somebody standing up there just in case. Just in case something goes bad or something.
That guy was
on
short patrol.
Yeah, I think he was on short patrol. He was worried about me with the shorts. Yeah. But no, Adam, I did not end up getting picked. I actually got called, right? I did get called. They called me right away. I was juror number 46, but I never got interviewed, never got taken for a case, and that was it. Was sent home. So I had some good stories, had some fun, and it was a good day. But we're going to get out of here. Listen, Heat Ratio Sports, obviously give us a follow. All things Heat Ratio Sports, all sorts of formats, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you know where to find us. Make sure the podcast page, the YouTube page, subscribe, like. A lot of big things coming up. Make sure all these guys are quick takes with Dan Green, a 2-minute warning without Griffin. You got 4th and go. We got the Fantasy Firebox. They'll be starting back out with me and John, and we'll throw Dan in the mix as always, talking about getting us ready for season-long fantasy football. Make sure you follow Final Judgment. Me and Lexi will be live, Final Judgment, on Thursday night, talking about those Detroit Lions, giving you some fantasy perspective for DeAndre Swift and Amon St. Brown, 2 guys that are kind of climbing up the fantasy realm as well. Make sure Sirius Satellite Radio every Sunday night, 9 to 11. We live, me and Jason Mizrahi, talking to dude, the guests have been phenomenal, giving some great insight, whether it be the Packers. We talked to Charles Gallman talking about the Chiefs, Stephen Reed talking about the Colts, with a lot of good insight. Stephen Reed, you got to give him a follow, at nice Stephen Reed out there on Twitter. He gave us some unbelievable. If you have Sirius, make sure you're following the Win Daily Show Saturday and Sundays. It's Sia and Jason on Saturdays. It's myself and Jason on Sundays. The guests that we've been able to get, I'm telling you, give you some great insight. Gave us these stats from Matt Ryan going across the middle that this dude was on point, like 107.4 QBR rating just across the middle, talking about how Mo Alley Cox and Michael Pittman Jr. are going to feast in an offense. So many different things. And as always, MLB, you can catch me doing MLB streams 2-3 days a week, as always, in the 5 and 5 on the weekends at Win Daily Sports. So as always, man, we all appreciate all the love. A lot of big things coming. Everybody have a fantastic week, and we'll catch you back here next Sunday.